recording for today's class. So if you want to go back and if you're missing me, missing our class, you can come watch the old videos. They'll still be available to you as well. And anyone who is not here today, if they want to catch up what we did in our last day of session 3. Today is the last day. We're going to talk about passive voice today. So we, in the complex grammar class, we've been talking about different parts of speech. We reviewed the different parts of speech and talked about verbs primarily. We talked about different verb tenses. We did the present perfect and present perfect progressive. We also talked about past perfect and past perfect progressive tenses. Related to verbs, we talked about gerunds and infinitives, which are a way to use the verb as a noun in the sentence. A noun or an infinitive can be an adjective or adverb. And we also talked about modals. Modals are those words that help give us more information about the main verb of a sentence and tell us about the situation there. If we're talking about ability, possibility, permission, request, recommendation, necessity. We also talked about phrasal verbs, and you're going to learn a lot more about phrasal verbs in session 4. But we talked about what a phrasal verb is. It's that 2 or sometimes 3 word verb where all the words are working together. And those little words are called particles. They can really change the meaning of the main verb. And sometimes it has a totally different meaning than you might expect. So those are phrasal verbs. Today we're going to talk about passive voice, active and passive voice, which is another way that we can change the verb to give us more information about what's happening. So let's start with that. Does anybody know, can you give me a definition or an example of active and passive voice?
Like I like you and you were liked by me, right?
Okay, yeah, very good.
Active voice is when you told now.
Okay. You did it now.
But passive voice is action done.
I think I know what you might be thinking. I'm going to erase this so that we don't get confused, but I think you're thinking the right idea.
Like the subject do something, and that's the object first by subject do.
Okay, good. That is a great, if you have studied active and passive before, some of these ideas might sound familiar to you. If you've never studied before, don't worry, because that's what we're here for. I'm going to show you some examples of active and passive, and then we'll talk about how to make the verb active or passive and why we would do that. So here is the same sentence written 2 different ways. One is active, the dog chased the cat. And the next one is passive, the cat was chased by the dog. The dog chased the cat was chased by the dog. An active sentence puts the focus on the doer or the performer or the subject of the verb, the dog. We put the doer or performer of the verb first in the sentence. In a passive sentence, we actually put the receiver or the object of the verb first. In this case, it is the cat. So the subject becomes the object and the object becomes the subject in a passive sentence. We can see in this picture here how the words kind of change position in the sentence, but the verb always stays in the middle. In this active sentence, we have the verb chased, chased. This is the simple past form of the verb to chase. To chase means to run after something. The dog chased the cat. We can create a passive sentence to put the focus on the receiver of the verb. The cat was chased by the dog. Was chased. To create the passive form of the verb, we use the verb be and then the past participle of the verb. Use the be verb and the past participle. In our active sentence here, chased is in the simple past tense. So we use be in the simple past tense. To create the passive, we use be and the past participle. So we can use the passive with many different forms of the or tenses of the verb, and we can change.
If I have a present, for example, Lilia play the guitar. The guitar was played by Lilia.
Perfect. Yep. Lilia plays the guitar is simple present. So we will add the simple present form of be. The guitar is played by Lilia.
We use be in present here.
Use be in the present form because plays is in the present form.
Okay, thank you.
And this is the past participle. So we can create passive sentences from any active verb tense by using be in the past participle.
We look all times when the active voice who verb is conjugate.
Yes, if you're going to change one sentence to another, then you would follow the tense of the active sentence to change to the passive in the passive sentence.
Okay, thank you so much.
So another question would be why? Why do we do this? Does anybody know why?
Maybe they like.
Maybe you just like to, sure.
Because it's feeling same means, no big difference.
Yeah, these two sentences here have very little difference in meaning. The dog chased the cat was chased by the dog. There's really very little difference here. The difference is we put the emphasis or the focus on the first part of the sentence. So it kind of gives our attention to something or someone. So if you're trying to give attention to the subject, you would use the active sentence. If you want to give the attention to the receiver of the verb, then you would use a passive sentence to put the focus and give people's attention to who is receiving the verb. There's another reason that we might use the passive instead of active. And sometimes we don't know who did it. Sometimes we don't know. This word agent is the name that we give by the dog. We use the word by to identify the doer of the verb in this passive sentence. And sometimes we don't know who did it. Sometimes we know, but it's not important. And sometimes we just don't know. So we can't say it in the active. Okay. We're going to look at plenty more examples, but let's stop here for a minute. Do you have any questions about active and passive? In this picture, it seems pretty simple, but when we look at some more examples, you might have more questions, and that's totally okay. Excuse me. Okay, let's look together at some more examples. We'll look at a few together and then we'll go back into our breakout rooms. And I'll share this link in the chat so you have access to it too. All right, Lynn, that's no problem. Thank you for thank you for being here as much as you can.
Thank you.
All right. Can you see my screen with the piano on it?
Yes.
Okay. All right. So let's read this little explanation here together, and then we'll look at these example sentences here. This explanation here is very similar to what we just talked about on the previous slide. But let's have some volunteers read now. Can I have a volunteer to read the blue box?
I read. In active voice sentences, the subject does the action. Example, Liz played the piano.
Very good. And Lilia, will you read this next box too?
In passive voice sentences, the subject receives the action. Example, the piano was played by Liz.
Very good, thank you.
You're welcome.
The sentence that uses the active voice is stronger because it is more direct. It uses fewer words, and it clearly shows who performs or who does the action. The passive sentence is a little bit weaker because it is less direct. Even though it is less direct, it is not wrong. It is not incorrect to use the passive. It is correct. Kind of a silly way to say that, but it is just less direct. And sometimes in English, we want to be very clear and direct about what is happening. And sometimes we want to, I don't know, be a little bit less direct. We want to talk around the situation a little bit. In an active, or in a passive sentence, sometimes the doer of the action is omitted, which means we don't say the doer. We can say the piano was played. The piano was played. We don't know who did it. Maybe it doesn't matter who played the piano, just that it was played. Okay, let's look at some of these example sentences together. We're going to decide if the sentence is active or passive. And then if we know the doer, we can write it on this space. If we don't know who did it, then we'll put the question mark here. So for example, we saw the game at the stadium. We can find our verb saw. which is the simple past tense. So we know this is an active sentence. And who is the doer? We. We is the subject of the sentence. All right. Number 1, can I have a volunteer to read sentence number 1?
It's me. Thomas feeds his dog. Active, passive.
Active.
It's active, yes.
And who is the doer of that sentence?
Thomas.
Yeah, very good. All right, a volunteer for number 2.
The dog is fed by Thomas. Passive.
And who is the doer of the verb?
Thomas.
Again, still Thomas. Yeah, we see him here at the end of the sentence. What is the main verb in sentence 1 and 2?
Feed.
Feed. Good. Yeah. And what tense do we see in sentence 1 and 2?
The dog is there.
No, what is the tense? Is it simple present, past perfect, present progressive?
The first one.
Simple. Person.
Right, simple present, present simple. Very good. We have feeds with the S form, and our passive we have is fed. Fed is the past participle of feed. All right. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and open up the breakout rooms so you can continue to work together on those sentences, identify active and passive, and who is the doer of the verb. For the passive sentences here, you're going to rewrite the sentence using the active. So we have the dog was hit by the car. If we create that sentence or make that sentence active,
The car hit the dog.
The car is.
so this one is a little tricky to see, but we have in the passive was hit. So we know this is the simple past
past.
hit. And hit being the past participle of an irregular verb, it has the same form for the simple past. The car hit the dog. Those irregular verbs are always tricky. But together with your group, you can go ahead and answer these first 2 sections here. On the second page here, there's a little bit more explanation. So if you have any questions, you can come down here and check your answers. This paper will mostly be helpful if you are reviewing or studying on your own. But if you have questions now, you can check here, or you can send me a message and I'll come and help out in your breakout room. All right, any questions before we open the breakout rooms? All right. If you do have any questions or problems, then please send me a message and I will come and help. I'll give you about 10 minutes to work together on this activity, and I think you'll have plenty of time to do that. All right. All right, have fun.
I share my screen. You can you share your screen, please?
Yeah, I
sure.
can.
Hmm?
Okay.
Can you, Zara?
Yeah, yeah.
Okay.
Okay. You see my screen?
Yes.
Passive. Passive.
Versus
Yes.
Yes.
The donor is Marshall. Marshall. Marshall.
Yes, Mark.
Marshall. Mhm.
Number
The,
5.
the game had been won by the blue team. It's passive
That's
and
it.
the blue team.
Blue team. Mhm. When that your turn.
Number
Let's
6
continue.
Number 6.
was solved. Active. The problem.
No.
No.
It's passive.
Passive.
Yes. This one no have the donor.
Oh. Okay.
Because the words solved.
Solve. Yeah. The problem solved. So
Yeah.
they don't have
Yeah, no have the donor.
you don't we don't know how who did it.
Yes.
The stuntman rise his life. The stuntman rise his life. This is
Active.
active, yeah, and then
The stuntman.
the stuntman. The subject is the stuntman.
Yes. The
Number
fire
8.
was extinguished.
Extinguish, yeah, extinguish.
Yeah, perfect. Extinguished.
Extinguished. This is the positive, and
Yeah.
that's the fire.
The fire. Mm.
The
Yeah,
car.
number 8, the fire was extinguished. Who is the doer?
The fire.
The fire.
No have.
No head.
It's
So this is
passive.
We
passive.
didn't
Passive.
talk.
Right, it's
Yeah.
passive. So we don't
Maybe
know the
by
doer.
some people and they didn't talk.
Maybe by
Yeah.
the firefighter, maybe by Hong. I don't know.
We don't know who did it. Yeah. The car was being cleaned by its owner. This is active.
No,
No. What is
Passive.
it's passive.
passive?
Yeah.
This is a little bit passive is
And,
its own
yes, it's owner.
its owner. Its owner, yeah.
Anytime you see by and a noun, you know that the sentence is going to be passive because by in the noun shows us the doer of the verb.
Okay, thank you, teacher. It's its owner, yeah.
Number 10. It's
Yeah.
get cold here during the winter. Active.
Active.
Right? Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
8. The donor. 8.
The doer is it. And what is it?
The doer.
Nobody talk. I don't know that's 8. The winter.
Get.
The weather, yeah. We use the pronoun it to refer to the weather. Normally, when we use a pronoun, we have to say Hong gets cold in the winter. She always has a sweater. When we use the pronoun, we always have to know the noun that it identifies. But when we use the pronoun it on its own with some kind of description here, like about the weather, then it refers to the weather. The weather gets cold here during the winter.
Okay.
Okay.
Direction.
Directions. Rewrite the
Rewrite.
passive voice sentence as active voice sentence. The dog was hit by the car.
Yeah, this one already. The car hit the
Yeah.
dog.
Okay.
Second.
The house will be built by the construction crew in 5 months.
The construction crew will build the house
The
in
construction
5
crew
months.
in 5, yes, the construction crew, the house in 5 months.
Yes.
Perfect. Good.
Voice sentence as active voice sentence. The dog was hit by the car. The car hit the dog.
The car, I'm sorry.
Hit is a irregular verb. He isn't change on past. Yeah.
Next, it's my turn, right?
Yeah.
The house will be built by the construction crew in 5 months. The construction crew will build the house. Will build the house.
Perfect. Good job.
You
Next.
Yes. We
do July answer the question. This is write this sentence in the passive voice.
okay. So the active jury is one.
Yeah.
Okay. Jury answers the question. The passive is the question was answered by Judy.
Yes. The dolphins have learned many tricks. Many tricks had learned or had been. I
Yeah,
don't
I think so.
remember. Here, this sentence is in present perfect. I will use past perfect. Had learned the dolphin. I think.
I think have been learned.
I don't remember.
That's okay. We're gonna review a little bit more about that in just a minute, but it's good that you recognize this one is present perfect, have learned. So the question is how to make the present perfect also passive. To make it passive, we have to use the verb be in the present perfect form. So if we use be in present perfect, we have
Been.
have been. Have been is the present perfect of the verb be. And now we need to use the past participle of our main verb, which is still going to be learned. So our passive, our present perfect passive have been learned. It looks really funny because it's like 3 verbs together. You really want 3 verbs, but this is the correct present perfect passive, have been learned. And now we can put the doer of the verb, many tricks, have been learned, and the receiver, the doer,
By dolphins.
by the dolphins. Good. All right, you all figured it out. Great job. All right, I'll give you a few more minutes to create your own sentences here with the using active and passive. I'm gonna go check on the other group while you do that.
The dishes was washed.
I don't know. This is a simple past.
Past. No, well, the verb is in present is
Ah, yeah, that's right. So, not the past tense. Is that present? No, not the present program.
present continue continue present.
I don't know. Simple present tense. Simple present tense. I
The
don't know.
third is past simple. Or simple
Went
past.
went to beach. Past simple past tense.
Simple past tense. Yeah.
Number 4. How about number 4?
Past continue. Continue past.
If it's continuous, then we see the ing. If there's no ing, it can't
Oh
be
no.
continuous.
Yeah.
So simple past tense.
We have, so for number 4, the letter was written by Marshall. We have our verb, our be verb, and the past participle. When we have be verb and the past participle, this is going to be a passive sentence. So when we look at the tense of be, we see that it is simple past. The letter was written by Marshall is the simple past passive.
Okay, simple past passive.
Mhm.
Right. So this one had been, so present progressive verb there. Past to, we learned that.
It's past perfect.
Past
Perfect.
Yeah, this one is past perfect passive.
passive. Past perfect passive.
We have had in the past tense, so we know that is past. We have had been won. There's that third verb there. It looks kind of silly, but it's the third verb. Had won is the past passive. The past perfect. And now we add be. And so we know it is had been is the past perfect progressive. Past, oh my gosh, you all, past perfect passive. It's a mouthful to say.
Yeah, I agree. Okay, thank you. Number 6, the problem was solved by somebody.
The past simple.
Passive voice.
It's definitely passive.
Passive past sentence.
It's going to be the simple past, right? Because we just have was. Was is the simple past.
Yes. So past and passive sentence. Okay, number 7. The stuntman risked his life. So simple past tense.
Yeah, simple past.
Yeah.
Rest.
Number 8.
The fire was thinking simple past.
Because of this.
was extinguished.
Was extinguished.
Extinguished.
Was extinguished.
Is active or passive?
If we have be and the past participle, it is
active past tense.
if we have be and the past participle, it is always going to be passive.
Oh, okay.
Be and the past participle is passive. When we look at the be verb, we can figure out what tense it is. Is it simple past, past perfect, present, present perfect?
So simple passive tense. Simple passive.
Yes, past simple and passive.
Okay. Number 9. The car was being cleaned by its owner.
Passive.
Passive.
Simple past.
Simple.
No, being a continuous.
Past
Yeah.
continuous. Yeah.
Very good.
Being cleaned by his own.
We have a question with number 10. We don't know this active or passive.
It gets cold here during the winter. Which word is the verb?
Good.
Gets, right? Just gets.
Good.
There's no be, and there's no past participle, so it can't be passive. This sentence is active.
Oh, okay.
So it gets cold here during the winter. What is the doer of the verb?
It's
It. Mhm.
okay.
What is it?
Weather.
The weather, right? We use the subject pronoun it to refer to the weather. It's a nice day outside, or it's raining today. It is the weather.
Okay. Phew, difficult. Thank you.
Yeah, you all did a great job. A lot of recognizing active and passive. That's why we start with this, is just being able to recognize, is it active or passive? We're going to take a closer look in just a minute at the verb tenses and see how we can change the verb tenses a little bit to identify those different situations. And the rest of the sentences here, if you haven't done them already, you can do for homework and then check your answers on the class website. You can also send me a picture of your answers and I'll check them too.
Okay.
Yeah, so let's go back into the main room now, and we're going to look at the different verb tenses with passive.
Okay. Thank you.
Okay,
All
thank
right.
you.
You're welcome. All right. Can we give another minute for a few seconds for the other group to join us?
Teacher,
Yes.
please don't forget, give me your address and then, yeah.
Okay,
message to me. Yeah.
I will do my absolute best to remember, but if I forget, send me another text and I'll
I think you didn't check a message because I didn't see you read.
You know what?
Oh, sometimes she busy. I know that.
I'm a busy person. It looks like you sent it at 7:19 yesterday, and I was in class. So sometimes what I do when I get text messages when I'm busy is I look and I turn it away, right? I don't even read it. I just get rid of the notification
For
and
you,
I forget.
the teacher is teach more important. Focus for teacher.
Yeah, and the moment it was more important.
Yeah, I know you.
All right, I think we're all back here now. So thank you so much for that. And I will definitely get back to you with that information. But let's come back to active and passive we're going to look at the different verb tenses. So with that page, you got a little idea of how to recognize active versus passive. And by looking for the verb in the sentence, and we're kind of looking for two different things. We're looking for, is it past? And we're also looking at the tense. What is the verb tense? Ellie, do you have a question?
Not yet. Maybe.
Okay. That's okay. Here on the class website is this, oh, it's not on here. Wait a minute. I was confused, these two worksheets. There's two handouts here, and this is not it. It might be in the class 1 handouts. I think it's here. I gave you a chart with all of the verb tenses and example sentence. Here it is. Yeah. The be verb, we have all of the simple present, example sentences, simple past, simple future. And we do the same for verbs that are not be in the simple present, the simple past, the simple future, present progressive sentences, past progressive sentences, future progressive, which we didn't talk about, present perfect, past perfect, future. These are all of the verb tenses and example sentences in English. And it's not here. Where is it? I also have a worksheet. I'm going to have to link it on the class website. A worksheet that has example sentences for all of the passive, to make every verb tense passive. I thought I put that in here. I'm sorry, you guys. Hold on a second while I look for it. All right, there's our piano paper, active and passive verb forms. We're going to do some more practice with identifying the passive and using different verb tenses. Okay, here it is. This is different than I remember, but this is in the handouts that are linked on the class website. The handouts that are linked on the class website. We can use the passive voice in the following forms. These are different verb tenses. We'll note that the form of be is the same as it is in the active verb. And that means that when we see the be verb, we can use that to help us identify the passive and then the verb tense that it is. In the simple present, we saw lots of examples on that previous page. He washes the car. The car is washed by him. So we follow this is, be in the past participle, washed. Be is in the simple present. So we know this is the simple present passive sentence. Present progressive, he is washing the car. For a present progressive passive, we want be and the past participle. Is being is the progressive form of the be verb. Is being, and then again, our past participle, washed. The present perfect, he has washed the car. We want to use the be verb in the present perfect, has been. The car has been washed by him.
Oh, I saw one the question like this. We confused. Yes, okay, now I understand.
Okay, let's scroll up here and we should be able to find that sentence.
Yes, yes. Here have one. We are confused. That's the
The
have.
game had been won. That's the
Yeah.
past perfect, but it follows the same kind of pattern. Had been is the past perfect of the be verb, right?
Yes.
And these verb tenses here, especially the passive forms, they can be a little bit tricky because we have so many words that make the verb. Has been washed. We have 3 words, right? Was being is kind of a weird form of the verb. We normally don't use the past progressive or present progressive with the be verb. We would just use the simple form. So was being sounds a little bit weird when we use it with the past participle to make the passive form of past progressive. The car was being washed by him. And here's that example of the past perfect with a regular verb. The car had been washed by him. Had been. Past perfect. We did study the simple future with will and be going to back in our basic grammar class, and we can use the passive with both of those forms of the future. The car will be washed by him. The car is going to be washed by him. The future perfect we haven't studied yet, but we can also create that with the passive. The car will have been washed by him. There are some forms of the verb that we don't use the passive because it just sounds too awkward. It's easier to say something else instead. So the present perfect progressive and past perfect progressive, we wouldn't use the passive form of those words. Same with the future progressive and future perfect progressive. So the perfect progressive tenses, we do not use the passive form for. It's too many words. It sounds really weird. We would express that idea in a different way. Okay. I'm going to share a link in the chat and we're going to go, oh, you know what? Let's take a break. Let's take a break here. When we come back from the break, we'll review a little bit and then we'll go back to the breakout rooms to do a little bit more practice. So let's take about 5 minutes or so, come back at 10:56, 10:57, something like that.
Teacher,
All right, yeah.
I have a question.
Yeah.
Yeah, the last time I got certificate, but when they are sending an email or I need to pick up myself.
I think you will get it in your mailbox.
Oh, okay.
Is that right?
Yeah.
Kazumi and Hong?
Yeah. I don't know because
They will send it to you. I got it. I received. They put it in your mailbox.
oh, okay. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you.
But we only get one time. That's all finished, right? No more.
No more, but you can keep learning.
Yeah, you can keep coming to class. If you want to take another test, we can make an appointment if you want to.
But
we don't need that. Not necessary, right?
But it's not necessary.
yeah, but this is difficult than the first test.
It's going to be much more difficult. Yeah.
Yeah,
You
much
don't-
more difficult.
You don't want to do it again.
Yes, that's what I say. No.
All right. If you are still around, if you're still at your phone or computer, come on back. We will continue our class. All right. Okay. Oh, I needed to get up and stretch a little bit. I feel so stiff after sitting here for a while. All right. We are talking about active and passive voice today. Passive voice is used when we want to put an emphasis or a focus or extra attention on the person or the noun who receives the action of a verb. Sometimes we do this to put the focus on the receiver, and sometimes we do it because we don't know who did it. If I say Kroger was robbed, Kroger was robbed, I don't know who did it. That's the whole problem. We don't know who robbed the store. So we can use the passive to put the focus on the receiver of the verb instead of the doer, especially when we don't know who the doer is. When we do know the doer, we can use the word by and then the doer of the verb in the passive if we want to include that information. Kroger was robbed by Joe. Some guy. Some guy robbed Kroger. We can also use the passive with many different verb tenses, and we can also use the passive with different modal verbs as well to express the different time situation where something happened, the simple past, the simple future, and also the perfect tenses, the simple perfect, the present perfect, past perfect, and future perfect. We can use the passive with those different tenses as well. To create a sentence with the passive, we need two things. We need the be verb, which is the verb we can change the verb tense, and then the main action of the sentence using the past participle. So remember, the past participle is that third form of the verb. We use the past participle in the perfect tenses and when creating the passive. The past participle is that third form of a verb. So for an irregular verb, it's another form that we have to memorize. And for a regular verb, the past participle is the same with the ed ending. Okay. How do you feel about using passive sentences, active and passive sentences? Feel good? Feel okay?
Yes, it's okay, but I don't like you that.
It's a really
Okay.
useful, it's really useful to be able to use sentences in the passive so we can talk about some things that we're, when we want to change the focus of what we're talking about.
I
All
have
right.
a question.
Yes, is that Kazumi?
Yes.
Okay.
The question sentence, we have example using the passive voice question sentence. Like, how can I say, who did this, or how can I say, the simple present, for example, simple present, the car is washed by him. So this question is, who washes the car?
Who was the car washed by?
Oh, who was
No, who was the car washed by?
washed
Who
by?
was the car? Yeah, that's it.
Okay.
I'll put it in the chat. Who was the car washed by? Essentially means who washed the car.
Mhm.
The car was washed by so-and-so. I guess you could write questions with the passive. It's probably not helpful to do so. It would be more direct to say who washed the car.
Oh, okay.
I'll think about some other examples of that, but my guess is it's possible, but it's just not necessary to do it. Yeah.
Okay.
But that was a really good question. I'm glad you asked that question.
Okay. Thank you.
Yeah. Was anybody else wondering what about questions with passive?
Yeah, each sentence so complicated. How they question about? I was wondering.
Yeah, no, that's a good question because normally we study the sentences and then we study the question form. And for
Right.
this one, we're not going to study the question form. So it was good thinking. You were kind of thinking ahead to what's next. Yeah. All right. I put another link in the chat. This is the link for a couple more pages where we're going to practice identifying active and passive. So for this first page, you're going to work together with your group and read the sentences. First, decide active or passive, and second, decide the tense. These use the simple tenses and the perfect tenses. I think there is one progressive example here, the present progressive. So identify the active or passive and then the tense that is used. This hotel was built in 1950. We have the verb was built, which is passive, and it's the simple past tense, was. People speak Spanish in Mexico. We have our verb speak, which is active and simple present tense. So you can work together on identifying those 10 sentences. You can get started, but you maybe don't have to finish writing all 6 sentences. You're going to change the active to make them passive, these sentences up here. And then I'd like you to take a few minutes to work together on this second page. On this page, you're going to see the verb tense and the active sentence, and you're going to create the passive sentence. So here it gives you the example, and you're going to change the sentence from active to passive. So people speak English in Australia.
English is spoken.
Very good. Present, simple present, and the past participle. English is spoken
by people in Australia.
By people in Australia. Good. All right, we have the present continuous. They are writing the report now.
The report is being written by them.
Because they is so vague, I wouldn't even include it in the passive. This is the example of where it's just not necessary to know who does the verb. The most important thing, and this is why we use the passive, is to put the focus on the receiver of the verb. So someone comes in, where's the report? Who is writing the report? You would say, calm down. The report is being written now. They're more concerned about the report, not actually who is doing it. So we will put the report without the agent, without the doer. All right. So for these next couple of questions, actually, let's do an example with one of our modals so you can see the example with the modal. Let's do number 9 together. Number 9, we have the modal can. They can finish the project on time.
The project
Project
can be finished.
The project
can be finished.
can is our modal. Be finished
Finished.
uses the simple present passive with a past participle finished
On
On
time.
time.
on time. And again, they, it's not really important, so we'll leave that part out. All right. All right. So I'm going to give you about, let's do about 15 minutes for these 2 pages together with your small group. If you want to do everything, you probably won't have time to answer every question. So you might work together on most of them and then save a few of them for homework to do on your own later. Same with rewriting the sentences, do maybe 4, and then the last 2 you can do for homework. And then these sentences, work through as many of them as you can. And we'll take about 15 minutes or so to work together in your groups.
Yes.
If you have any questions or problems in the breakout room, then let me know and I'll come and visit and check up on each group
And
as
the
you're working.
teacher, please check your message now.
Okay, thank you.
Teacher, I have to leave because I have appointment in.
Okay,
I have to leave just now.
Okay.
Sorry about that.
no problem. Thank you, Ellie. We will see you next time. No, next time. We'll see you around.
Yeah, we will. I will call you later when you
Okay.
have time. Okay, thank you so much.
All right. Bye, Ellie.
Bye.
All right, so let's go ahead and go into our breakout rooms. If you have any questions or problems, then you can send me a message. I'll come and help you. All right, have fun.
All the food at the party was eaten. What's the question? Read the following sentence.
That's the
Yes.
passive
Yes.
and the past tense.
This is passive, yes.
I feed the cat last night. That's the active and the past.
I feed the cat last night. The tense,
The test of the past last night.
past, yes. Voila.
Yes, the mailman or the mail is delivered every day. The man delivers the mail every day. Or is
Yes.
delivering.
Number
is deliver-
3 that you say is the passive
I think passive present simple,
and the
right?
present. Yeah. Number 4.
The mailman delivers our mail in the morning.
Yes, this is the active
Active,
and the present.
yes.
The meeting will be hold in the conference room. That's the future and the passive, right? You agree?
The mail will be in the conference room. Yes, passive.
Yeah. And the future.
Yes, this future. Number 6, voila.
The mechanic has already fixed my car. My car fixed by the mechanic.
No, you don't need to check. You need to tell us what's the active or passive.
Yeah, this is active.
Yes.
Yes, active.
And the tense.
Yeah, the tense, present tense is
Perfect.
there is the fixed.
Present perfect. Present.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Present perfect.
Yes.
Number 7.
7, sorry. John has
Fixing, maybe.
Being fixed, easy.
Fix it. I think is in the past
The car was being
participle.
I don't know.
Okay.
So
Vanessa,
I don't know, it's fixing or fix it.
Yeah. So to make the continuous, we need the ing. With the passive, the be verb tells us the tense. So we can use was being. Was being is the be verb in the past continuous. So to make the passive, we want the be verb in the right tense and then the past participle of the main verb.
fixed.
Yes.
Okay.
Was being fixed is the past continuous passive.
How was being fixed when I arrived?
Mhm.
Okay, thank you.
Perfect.
Number 5, Kazumi, future tense. Someone will give us a tour of the museum.
Okay.
mm,
A tour, uh,
the museum
well, future. Well,
Will
will
well,
giving us or will be
give us a tour.
well, I think it's given
Someone.
the museum.
The museum will give us a tour by someone.
Well, given us.
or will be given us a tour.
Yeah.
This is a B. Okay. Will
Will be given
us
He,
as a tour by someone.
mhm.
All right. You all got the correct verb, will be given.
Will be
But
given.
we need to identify the object in that original sentence. Someone will give us a tour of the museum. What is the subject? What is the object of that original sentence?
Us?
Us, right?
Oh,
And so we need to make that the subject of our new sentence, not the museum.
oh.
or we
We, yeah, right. We will be given a tour of the museum.
We will be given.
Mhm.
Will be given. Sorry, dirty.
That's okay.
Will be given. Will be giving us.
We already used us because us is the subject, right? Or the object.
So we will be giving
Tour of the museum.
A tour. We will be given a tour by someone,
by someone.
or
Okay.
we will be given a tour of the museum by someone.
Or Daddy. Tour by someone. Okay, thank you.
Number 6,
Mhm.
future was going to, they are going to tear down the old building. The old building,
Mhm.
it is the old building. Is going to
Yes, going to. Going to
tear
tear down.
Tear down. By then,
all the building. Is going to be
Going to
Uh,
be.
this right or
We need the be verb, right? We need to add is going to be, and then we have to change tear down to the past participle.
Tear.
I don't know.
Tear. Torn. Torn.
Torn, right? T-O-R-N, torn.
Torn.
Okay.
okay.
Good job.
Thank you.
Fall down.
Number 7.
Mhm.
Our mail is delivered in the morning.
It's the
Is delivered.
word in the morning.
Good. I agree. We know the mailman delivers the mail, so we don't need to say it again, right?
Yeah.
Mhm.
Number 6. Go ahead, Lilia. It's okay. I can do number 6. The mechanic has already fixed my car. My car has been fixed. My car already has been fixed.
My car
Already has been fixed. Yeah.
already.
With the present perfect, which is what this sentence is, the tense has already fixed. We normally put the adverb, I guess it depends on the adverb, but already will go between the two words. So my car has already been fixed.
Has already been.
That's a weird thing that we definitely didn't talk about already.
Okay, number 9. They will make a decision at the meeting. A decision will make made.
I think will be made.
Will be made. Yeah, you're right. Be made. I feel that weird. Will be made. Will be made.
Yeah.
Will be made at the meeting.
Yeah. Number 10.
And
The wind blew down the trees. The trees is blew down. No. The trees was blew down. Was
Wow.
blew down. Yeah.
I think war. The
The trees
trees
were yeah.
were
Were blew down.
all
Okay,
down
right.
by the wind.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay. Change the following sentence to passive voice. Number 1, simple past. People speak English in Australia. English is spoken in Australia.
Yes, English is spoken
by people.
Yeah, it's okay. It's not necessary for write by who.
Yes,
Okay.
Yeah.
not necessary. Okay, Lilia, go ahead. Number 2.
They are rating the report now. The report being I don't remember.
I think are being
Are being rate
are being written.
Yes.
Yeah.
Are being. The report is singular.
by
so
them.
The report is being.
yes, is being. I
Is
think.
being written.
Yes, written.
Yeah.
Now.
That was really great teamwork. I'm really proud of you all.
Thank
Figuring
you.
it out.
Thank
You could tell it wasn't right, and then you all worked together to kind of figure out where the mistakes were, and that was really cool. That was really fun to see you all figure out how to make the verb tenses and then how to make them passive on top of all of that. Great job.
Thank you.
Okay, number 3. The dog beat the mailman. Wow.
Yeah.
The mailman simple past. The mailman was
Yeah.
beat. What is a past?
I think bit. What bit? I think.
Bit.
It's bitten. B-I-T-T-E-N. Bitten.
B-I-T-T-E-N. Beaten.
Yeah.
Beaten by the dog.
Number 4. Past continuous. He was still fixing the car when I arrived at the garage. The car was still being fixed. When I arrived.
Yes.
Yeah.
When I arrived at the garage. Okay, number 5. Lydia.
Yeah, I think she's busy.
Sorry,
Okay.
I'm with my daughter.
Oh, no
Yeah.
problem.
No problem.
Okay, I'm gonna number 5. So someone will give us a tour of the museum. A tour is subject. A tour.
For this sentence, first find the verb, then find the subject and the object.
So
A tour of the museum is object.
wrong object. Subject. Give us the tour of museum. Yes. A tour of museum will be in given.
I think will be. Will
Will be.
given.
Yeah, you're right. Will be given.
This is correct. A tour of the museum will be given. We don't need to include by someone. That's kind of unnecessary information. But there's actually another object of this sentence. Someone will give us a tour of the museum. So there's another way to write the sentence. What you have isn't wrong. Don't erase it. There's two ways we can make this sentence passive. So how would you make it passive with us as the subject?
We
Right?
We will be given.
Perfect.
We will be given a tour of the museum.
Very good.
Oh, I see.
All right. I'm going to give you all a few more minutes to keep working. I'm going to go check on another group and then we'll come back into the main room for a little bit.
Okay, thank you.
The flower should be swept every day. You understand the number 11?
No, the floor.
The flower should be swept.
Every day. Yes, right.
Yes.
Number 12.
You must wear your seatbelt all the time. The seatbelt must be weared all time.
Yes, all time.
Wear is an irregular verb, so it's got a weird past participle.
The where, where, that's we are confused. Where don't need to put an ed, right?
There's no ed, but it's irregular. It's not the same.
Oh, that's everyone. The past also is where, and the past also is same. All same.
It's not the same. It's worn. Worn is the past participle.
Oh, where? That's worn.
Oh.
Where? Wore, worn.
Where, worn, worn. That's we must write. The seatbelt must be worn at all
times. Perfect.
Okay.
They might build the new bridge by next year. The new bridge
by the next years. The new bridge might be complete
Completed
next year.
by the new next year.
Yeah. They may contact you this week. You may be connect 加个 e for add ed by them this week.
Perfect.
It's so difficult to read.
When these subjects are they, we don't really know who is they. We probably
don't leave it.
don't need to include it, right? You may be contacted this week.
Okay.
All right, great job. Any other questions about these sentences?
No, we understand. We write is easy, but when we read, so difficult.
Yeah, it is. It for sure is. And if you want to practice more, there's more homework. There's more activities included in the homework this week. It's not necessary.
Can you solve number 6 here?
Number 6. They are going to tear down the old building. The old building is going to be torn down.
Okay.
Torn.
Torn. T-O-R-N.
Same like the where.
Wear and tear. Yep.
Worn.
Torn, yeah.
All right. Take another minute to wrap up. I'm going to close the breakout rooms and then we'll go back and continue our class together.
Thank you, teacher.
You're welcome. Okay, we'll give everyone a few seconds to join us again. Thank you so much, Hong. Thank you for doing that. That was so kind of you. Yeah, I did.
Yeah, thank you also. I don't know how to do. That's why I let my daughter send it to you. Yeah, I messaged her. She said, ask her she get or not. I said, okay.
Yeah. Wow. Well, thank you for
we
figuring that out and coordinating.
We plan. The beginning we plan maybe because you like to drink coffee. We think maybe buy one coffee machine. But you suddenly tell us you will go. That's that's no time. That's why we say okay, send the money to you by yourself. If not enough, if they have some money inside.
Well, I will go to Starbucks and Heine Brothers, and I will think of you all every time I go.
Thank you.
Yeah,
thank you.
all
Really,
so
thank
much.
you. Everyone say you teach us too good because we are low level, and you never angry because we don't know how polite talk with you. We just what we want, we talk. You know? Yes, but you understand very clear. You don't never angry, and you patience tell us. And you are really good teacher.
Well, I thank you, and you're welcome. And also, why would I get angry at you?
No, because when sometimes when I talk, I don't know how to talk. That's the feeling I'm polite. But from my heart, I want, but I don't know how to say. I just what I know the word, I put it together, I talk. But maybe they heard it's different. But that's why I told you we are low level.
I disagree with that low level assessment, but I understand your meaning, and I wouldn't be a very good teacher if I just had no patience and was angry at you all of the time. I want you to come back.
If you go anywhere, do any work like this, you will succeed because you are too patient.
Well, thank you.
Very patient. Yeah.
All right. Hi, welcome back, Lisette.
How much you get?
I have a question, teacher.
Yes, Kazumi.
One of our group is confusing about number 7 and 8.
All right. Yeah, let's jump back to that for a minute. Then we'll check in with Lisette and her test, and then I'll turn off the recording and we'll just hang out for a few minutes. But Let me share the right screen. You said number 7 and 8.
Yes.
Okay, so we have a present perfect sentence and a past perfect sentence. So for these, we need to find the verb, and then we need to change the be verb to include that present and past perfect. So they had given him the bad news. So we'll change him to he. He has given is our present perfect verb. He has given, but we need to change it to passive. So we need to add the be verb. He has been. He has been is the be verb in the present perfect. He has been given the bad news. We don't need to include by them because it's not really useful information. Kazumi, does that help with number 7?
Yes, I thought that I no need being, but she said that yeah, you should put on the being. Then I thought I no need the being, so I talking about a long time for spending time. I'm sorry, I made a mistake.
That's okay. The passive, we must have be and the past participle. Be and the past participle makes the passive. If there's no be with the past participle, it's not going to be passive. So we're creating passive sentences. We need both of those things. In number 8, we have the past perfect had built. Had built. So how can we make had built passive?
Had been built.
Had been is the passive of the past perfect. Had and the be verb in the past participle. And then we'll need to add our main verb in the past participle. Had been built. All right, what had been built? The houses had been built. And then other useful information before the war started. So this is kind of a funny way to write this sentence because we're like kind of taking the pieces and moving them around in a weird way. But this helps us see where's the verb, where's the past participle, and getting the subject or the receiver and the doer of the verb in the right spot, and then including some other information if we want it. Kazumi, does that answer number 8 for your group?
Yes, but I thought the class material has no any being, so I was confused. I'm sorry.
Oh, I'm sorry if that wasn't clear. That was my fault from the beginning. Yeah. And I probably could have said that again and again and again to make that more clear. But for the passive, we must use be and the past participle.
Oh, okay. Passive is okay. Thank you.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, made a mistake.
That's okay. That's how we learn. And you can practice with the homework and then check back with me. Yeah, I could have said that much more clearly here. The passive form uses be and the past participle of verb. So we need at least 2 words to make the passive verb here. In some tenses, we will need 3 words. All right. Any other questions about this worksheet? All right. Then with that, I just want to leave a couple of quick notes for you here for the next couple of weeks until the next class begins in January. If you have time, which who knows if you will have time, you can come back to review your old class notes, finish the homework and check the answers from the previous classes. You can use your phone to make voice memos and listen to your reading, listen to the recordings by reading the sentences and practicing speaking and pronunciation. You can, there's a link on the class website, but using this quill.org is a place where you can get grammar and writing practice. The public library offers English conversation practice on Zoom. I think they meet a few different times during the week, and if you are interested, I can help you find the person to ask, but you can also just go to the library and ask for English Conversation Club, and they'll tell you. Of course, watching YouTube videos and TV shows and movies in English is a great way to get some listening practice, but also just enjoy the break, enjoy some time off in the holiday season, and don't worry about having or not doing enough over the break, because it'll be a very busy time for sure.
Where you go for the break? 2 weeks.
I'm not going
3 weeks.
anywhere. I'm gonna
No.
stay here in Louisville.
Oh,
Yeah. Yeah. All right. I'm gonna go ahead and stop the recording for our class today.